Hey guys, hey, this is Anne Marie, and welcome to the Anti-HR channel. So, what now? We now have the results of the 2024 election, and not surprising to me, but maybe surprising to some of us in my audience, Donald Trump has been reelected as the 47th president of the United States. I wish I could say I was surprised. When it comes to America, I always say I have hope, but I'm never hopeful, because the nature of the country is such that this is not shocking to me. But I know it's very sad, and a lot of people are deeply depressed and distressed today. I'm sad about it, but I'm not surprised. I recognized that the United States of America was regressing into fascism back in 2008 when Barack Obama was elected. When I saw the reaction that people had to his election, the formation of the Tea Party, the rhetoric that started coming out of the Republican Party, I knew that it was the direction in which it would go was not a good direction. And after Obama left office, then Trump came in. He was in office for 4 years, and when he left, we were coming out of a pandemic. Hundreds of thousands, almost 1 million people died in the United States due to his mismanagement. The economy was a hot mess. We are still dealing with some of the aftermath of that. Inflation is going down, but it's still a problem. And the only thing he really accomplished in his first term was to give wealthy people a very big tax cut, which were also, lots of people's taxes went up, but not rich people. And a lot of Americans have no understanding of the history. They have no understanding of how their government works. But y'all are going to find out, right? We are now, I think we've now watched the season finale of America as a democracy. What she evolves into now is anyone's guess, but democracy is over. And I think people are going to figure that out really soon. This time next year, it'll be very clear what kind of society you live in. But this is what people voted for. And so, people get the government they deserve. French theorist, political theorist Rousseau said that. And it's true. People get the government they deserve. And when you look at the data that came out of this election and you see how people voted, and I will put it up on the screen, and I already put it up in my community. A majority of white people, white men and women, voted for Donald Trump. As I said, and I've said many times, white women cannot be trusted. They do not vote based on their gender. They vote based on their race. And despite all, the talk about reproductive rights and all those things, they don't care about that as much as they care about their race. And they are willing to sacrifice their daughters, their granddaughters, their nieces to ensure that white supremacy prevails. And that's what happened in this election. Black women are the only people who consistently vote for everybody's interest. And the one lesson I want us as Black women to get out of this experience is to stop doing that. It is not our job to save America. It's not our job to save Black men. It's not our job to save anybody but ourselves. And the next several years are going to be very, very rough for the United States of America. And it's going to be particularly rough for Black women and Black people. And I really want us to give ourselves permission to get off the cross, give up the cape, and do what you got to do to protect yourself. I left the United States for my own mental health and well-being, and it was one of the best things that I ever did for myself. I know that everybody can't leave. I've been gone for almost 4 years now, and I have no intentions of returning. I know everyone can't leave. But if you as a Black woman want to leave the United States, I want you to know that you can. I want you to know that there are lots of people out there to give you the information and the tools. I highly recommend, as a Black woman, if you are interested in leaving the United States, follow Stephanie Perry on YouTube and any other social media platform where you can find her, and join the Exodus Summit, which is a group specifically for Black women that gives you education, information, and tools about how to move abroad. That is how I ended up moving abroad. I got all the information I needed through the Exodus Summit and Stephanie Perry. And so I highly recommend that if you realize that it's time for you to do something different after these election results, don't dismiss those feelings. Don't feel you have to stay. But understand that when you move abroad, there are adjustments you have to make, right? And it's not going to be like living in America. And to me, that's a good thing. But it's definitely an adjustment. But it's an adjustment that I think was well worth it for me. But I want you to know that it's an option. But everyone can't do it. That's the reality. And so a lot of people are going to have to live through another Trump administration. And I honestly and truly do not believe that we're going to have regular elections in the United States ever again. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so. So I don't know how things are going to work after this person gets back into the White House. I know that he's going to be surrounded by fascist, Nazis, anti-Semitic people, openly anti-Black people, anti-immigrant people, people who hate the LGBTQ community. He's going to be surrounded by those people. Those are the people who voted for him and people who are also okay with those sentiments and that care more about paying $3 for a carton of eggs than they do about other people's human rights. So I think they're going to be surprised that prices aren't going to be what they think it's going to be. All the things that he's promising them, he's not going to fulfill them, just like he didn't the first time. But a lot of white people just need to feel that they're going to be on top. And as long as they're going to be on top, they don't care if democracy burns, if they can be the king and queens of the rubble. And I think people need to understand that. Okay, Latino voters, a larger majority of Latino women voted for Kamala Harris, but the majority of Latino men voted for Trump. Latino people are really going to find out that white folks don't care nothing about them in the next 4 years and beyond. Even those of you who think you're white, they don't see you that way. They don't see you as equals and they don't like you. Same for the Asians. All y'all about to find out that in America, unless you are white, male, and wealthy, your interests are not paramount in this country. And you're going to find that out in the next 4 years and beyond. Okay? Black people already know this, especially Black women. But 20% of Black men even voted for Trump in this election. And that might be the highest percentage in the last several elections. They voted more for him in this election than they did in 2016 and 2020, right? So there's a disconnect. And I think all of the people who chose to put this person back in the White House, knowing everything that they know, and this time we can't say we don't know who this person is. So he has a mandate to go in, implement Project 2025, put the most right-wing people on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to be right-wing for the rest of my life and probably through the rest of my son's life and be making decisions that are anti-Black, anti-democracy, and just pro-capitalism for the rest of my life. And that's the reality. But this is what you all chose. This is what you voted for. I hope you can live with the consequences. Life, if nothing else, is a series of choices and consequences. And the American people have made choices, and I hope that they can live with the consequences. I will be observing it all from afar. And I will still have to visit America from time to time. My son still lives there, even though I'm trying everything in my power to convince him to make a different choice. But I will definitely be visiting less and for shorter periods of time than normal because I have no desire to spend any significant amount of time in a fascist nation. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe spending any long periods of time in the United States after January 20th. So I'm planning to visit my family before the next administration comes in, as much time as I can with them in person, because I don't plan, especially those who live in Florida, I don't plan to step foot in the state of Florida in the foreseeable future, unless I'm literally sitting in the airport to get on another plane. I don't plan to spend any money there, to spend any time there. And I will, as much as possible, try to avoid all the particularly openly fascist states in the United States, because they already exist. Florida, Texas, most of the South, pretty much all of the South. These are not safe places for Black people, and especially not for Black women. I really do hope that a lot of you, and I'm talking to Black women here, did heed my advice and took today off Took the rest of the week off if you can. Protect your mental health. Protect yourself as much as you can. Don't engage with the BS. And there's going to be a lot of BS because white folks going to be feeling themselves, right? And unfortunately, a lot of the protections that have been put in place after the Civil Rights Act to protect marginalized communities, I expect a lot of them to be dismantled. I don't expect the EEOC to survive in its current state through the end of this administration. I don't expect a lot of agencies, since he said he's going to put Elon Musk in charge of deciding how our government should be structured. A lot of agencies may not exist to protect your rights. So what I would say is, if you believe that you are dealing with discrimination in your workplace right now, it would behoove you to do something about it now. I don't suggest that you wait. I suggest that you act. Educate yourself. I have a lot of resources on my website, and I will attach some of them to this video. I have courses that I teach people how to leave discriminatory, hostile work environments and get their employers to pay them, often without any legal help. This is how I left the United States. That's how I financed my exit, was through getting out of a very problematic work environment. And so I teach people how to do this. I hope that people will avail themselves of these resources and use the strategies while they exist, because I honestly am not hopeful for where we go from here in terms of the United States as a nation and its citizens. I mean, white people will be fine. Most of them will be fine. I mean, the poorer people, middle class, I don't think the middle class as we know it is going to exist in the next 4 to 8 years, right? But I do think that if you're white, you're not going to feel the most pain first. The people who are going to feel the most pain first are the poor, who are Black people and brown people, including some of the brown people who voted for this. They're going to catch some hell, and they're going to learn. And I think that this is an opportunity for Black people, especially Black women, to sit down and mind their business. Protect your health, protect your own community. Please invest and try to keep your money in your community, and mind your business. Leave people to their own devices for the next 4 years. Don't go to no marches if it don't have nothing to do with your community. Don't engage, because people have shown us how they feel about us in this election. And when I say us, I especially mean Black women. And we need to take it to heart. I think we need to stop being so forgiving, so long-suffering, so concerned about everybody else's interests and everybody else's rights, and see to our own house first. And you're going to need to do that in the next several years, right? And so while, I try to be as inclusive as possible, the outcome of this election has made it very clear how America feels about Black women in particular. All of America, including our own men. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I think we need to pay attention to that. It has shown us how America feels about us, and how, that a woman as qualified as the woman that just ran, as qualified as you're going to find, didn't even get the popular vote, says a lot about how America feels. It has nothing to do with her qualifications. It has nothing to do with the campaign she ran. She ran one of the best campaigns I've ever seen as a student of political systems. Has nothing to do with that. I will not allow anyone come in my comments and try to blame her for this outcome. This is America. This is white America primarily, followed by all other people of color who are not Black, who allowed this to happen. And we need to make sure that we don't forget that as Black women, especially. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. And take it to heart, right? And act accordingly. So you got to see to your own mental health. You got to see to the well-being of yourself and then your children. Because that's what I'm most concerned about, is the future, the kind of country that my son now has to live in. Because I don't live in America, but he does. And I'm very concerned about it, right? Even though the state that I may live in is a blue state, just elected one of the 2 Black women, first-time Black women senators. Super proud of that, because I voted for that person. Happy to see that. But I realize that most of the country is inhabited by people who don't think that my life is as valuable as theirs. Don't think that I'm as worthy as they are. And that's why I left. And so what I want to say to, Black women who are the most educated in our community, who are, constantly trying to save everybody else, right? It's time for us to look out for ourselves. And if that means leaving, do it. If that means getting the hell out of that job that you've been thinking about getting out of, do it, and do it now. Whatever it is you need to do to protect your peace over the next several weeks, months, and years, do it. Create a plan, strategy, and implement. That's what you have to do, because America is going to America, and so we got to act like we understand that now. Because the first time this man was elected, people could say they didn't know, they weren't sure. Now we know who this person is, and yet they put him back in there. That should tell you everything you need to know about how America feels about Black people collectively, and especially about Black women. So believe it and act accordingly. I ain't got nothing else to say right now. I'm sure I will have other thoughts, but I will link my roadmap to workplace rights to this video. I really think it's important to know your workplace rights as they currently are, so that you can understand when the changes come, what has gone away. Please watch my video. I wrote a blog about the EEOC. Please read it. Avail yourself of these support systems while you still have them, right? While you have the ability to use them, please use them. That's all I have right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.